Hi. In this chapter, we're going to start working on a project that we're going to be working on for a few chapters. And this project is going to let us record key hits and game controller input and mouse input to the screen so we can see responses to all kinds of different inputs that we or the user could do and see how they work. And along the way, we're going to develop a couple of heads-up graphic techniques that we can actually use later on in games. So this is just kind of a utility thing. It's to get you used to doing a good deal of coding and some logic and things that we're going to use later on. It's kind of a wax-on, wax-off kind of exercise. And in the end, you're going to have a pretty impressive utility that you can keep and share with your friends or do whatever you want with it. So let's get going. So the first thing we're going to do is open Visual Studio, and I'm going to do it from the shortcut on the desktop and create a new project. And it's going to be Windows Game 4.0. It's going to be in my projects directory, and I'm going to name this Input Controls, and then underscore, and you can add your name if you want, and if you're a cartoon character you might use this name, otherwise use your own name. Click OK, and there's our project. The first thing we need to do in this project is to add a font. So we're going to come over to the content directory, right-click, add new folder, call it fonts, and then right-click on fonts, add new item, and this is going to be a Sprite Font. So click on the Sprite Font, and then click add, and it creates a new page for our font. Now this is the default font. I'm going to change it to a font I like a little better, which is called Bookman Old Style. You can use anything on your machine. It's best to stay with fonts that are common to Windows installations. I'm going to leave the size. I could change the size, but we don't know what we're going to do with this right now, so that's fine. Change some of these other parameters. I'm going to change from regular to bold italic, and to do this I'm just going to copy the bold comma italic, so Control C and then come down here, Control V, so that way there's no typos. You don't use the quotes in it, just the words and the comma and the space. So there are other parameters that we could change. We're not going to do any of that right now. So okay, so now the font is part of the project, but it's not actually in our game. So to do that, first thing we need to do is add a variable, which is a Sprite Font, and we're going to call it font underscore 01, kind of my naming convention for these things. You can get fancier if you want on the name, especially if you're going to have lots of different fonts. You'd want to be able to tell them apart a little easier. And then we need to actually load the font into our font 01 variable. We do that here in the load content. Font 01 is equal to content.load. And then we're going to use the less than, and the variable type here is a Sprite Font, and then the greater than character, open paren, and then double quote, and then it's in the fonts directory, and a couple of slashes, and the name that comes in by default is just Sprite Font 1, a little different naming convention than what I use. Microsoft's a little different on that, but that's fine. And there it is. Okay, so now it's loaded up as Font 01. We can actually use that to write text to the screen in the draw method, and we'll do that in the next videos. For now, we're done, so we just save it, and we'll see you next time.